Peace and blessings, everyone. Um, Here with Brother Passy, live and direct from Kinshasa. Sister Camille, here with us in the belly of the beast, so to speak. And there's so much going on. We're going to jump right into it. Brother Passy, and we saw a tremendous amount unfolding in Kinshasa today. Um, so we'd like for you to share with us what's happening on the ground, what's going on in the streets of Kinshasa, and let people know.
Okay. Hey, can I get one? Can you hear me,
Yes,
brother?
you got it. Yes. Go for it.
Yes, thank you. Yes. This morning, as a teacher, we went to school to teach students, and there was a kind of a anxiety because parents didn't send more students, children to school. So after some minutes, around 9 to 4, one of the schools where I intervene, I teach, is next to the French embassy, and the school is also next to the military intelligence, also inquiring the so-called renseignement, so the intelligence of the Congo army, the so-called DEMIAP, and the tension was not really easy because they had to protect and control each person entering that space, and there was a crowd coming from the embassy, the French embassy, and they started burning because there was a kind of sadness that's just brought up just in the Congolese mind, Congolese young people mind. So it is very sad to see that the country like France can support rebels and sending weapons and to support 23 and rebels, and knowing that Congo is the most French-speaking country. And apart from this French embassy, the young Congolese people, and they went to other embassies like the USA embassy and the Uganda embassies. So we were asked to hold some branches. This is the symbol of mourning. And so we were mourning with brothers, and especially the support to the Congolese soldiers. So these heroes who were struggling in order to maintain the integrity and the dignity of the country. So this will be the objective. So there was no activity. So up to 11, so every activity will stop. Though this was not official, but given that there was the envy of expressing sadness and demonstrating, so all people invaded the roads, and this started from Kitambo Township and up to Gombe Township, and from the airport, the Njili airport, the Masina district, Changu district, they were coming, and so the destination was to go to the embassies of the countries that support Rwanda and M23 rebels, especially France, and there was an attack to the USA embassy, Uganda. So they started burning everything. And one of the young Congolese people went to withdraw the French flag. And despite this, I had an analysis as an activist and a revolutionary. So we were expressing sadness, anger towards what is happening in the country. But there is another observation. You could see some people who are not conscious, who are not there to support the army, but they are just there they are manipulated by politicians. They were just going to make a kind of propaganda. So there's a kind of division, and that's why this demonstration was not rebuked. But if it were organized by activists, for example, like people who were supporting those who are nationalists. This demonstration would have been rebuked, because there are things to be said in according to in terms of the
So Passy's was sharing with us what was unfolding in Kinshasa this morning with the demonstrations at a series of embassies, Rwandan embassy, the Ugandan embassy, French, U.S. embassy, and explaining the sadness of the people. We said they're in mourning, the anger expressed by the youth. And Passy, if you continue sharing with us what you're experiencing in Kinshasa. Passy's joining us from Kinshasa, and sharing with us some of the areas from which the demonstration were initiated. Talk about if you can continue, Passy, and share with us.
Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, we can hear you. Whenever you come on, just talk. We can hear you. We can hear you fine, Passy. Go ahead. So it appears that he's having problems with his sound. I hope you can see us. Yeah. So the connection is a little bad. So Camille, I know out there in New York, there's a demonstration in New York today at the UN, and I've been talking to our team in New York. Maybe you can give us a little bit what folks were saying and.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
since I wasn't on the ground, I don't really know what has been going on, but there was a demonstration, or there is actually still a demonstration right now at the UN. I think it's partially they're also following the UN Security Council meeting that's happening right now, which might almost be over. I don't have a lot of news.
Yeah. Did Vanessa connect with you yet? Or she's still out and demonstrating herself?
So it seems like Vanessa is still out and demonstrating.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
yeah. So folks are gathered in New York as well. Just I think it was yesterday. Folks were out in droves in South Kivu and Bukavu. So what we're seeing is Congolese standing up inside and outside of the country, expressing, their disdain, their anger for the manner in which certain nations been in support of this war of aggression and plunder that we see unfolding in the east of the Congo. That's been in course, at least the latest iteration of it, for the last 3 or 4 years, 2021, 2022. So, Brother Passy, let me know if you can hear us. If once you're on, you could just go ahead and talk and continue, because people want to hear from you. Folks on the ground, they see tires being burned, embassies being attacked, people in the streets, and I'd like to know, what the atmosphere is like on the ground, what people are saying, what they're feeling, in addition to the images that they're seeing on their screens. Go ahead, my brother. You can go ahead. I know we're not able to hear you. The sound is not coming through to us. think we got you now. Go ahead.
Is that okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I was talking about the kinds of activists who were protesting. So we could see some young Congolese people who were looking for food, and others just came for looting. But if such a demonstration were organized by activists, people who are conscious about the situation, because we can say the situation of people in Kinshasa who are analyzing things, or other people they don't seek to analyze things. That way, I can say some acts, some actions that went just to attacks. For we can go and attack the embassy, then denounce what is happening, try to show anger. Other them protesters that could just support their political parties. So that's why we
Mm.
need to support those young Congolese who are just fighting for the support, who are supporting the troops in Goma. So it was a kind of regret because some of these protesters were manipulated by political leaders. Because we can say when we organize demonstrations here in Kinshasa, we are rebuked and we are arrested. But
You
when
know,
it is organized by
go ahead, Passy. Continue, please.
yeah, this is the situation. So burning of tires and going to these embassies was a good approach. So that France and Uganda and in the USA and the Rwanda, so embassies they could directly uh, see the hunger and the fight back of Congolese young people who want to see them just protecting, respecting the sovereignty of our country and stop supporting these troops, M23 rebels troops in Rwanda. But all other protesters were just coming, just young Congolese people are here in Kinshasa are suffering. So others could come just for their need of making other actions like looting, and this was a kind of negative aspects of these actions. And but generally, you can see a mass of Congolese people along the streets going and claiming for the support for anywhere, the solidarity from any an African or any uh, any other country that can come and help us. So this was the general situation of the demonstration on the ground
Um,
here.
Thanks, Passy. You said so many. I have so many questions, but I'm not. Camille, I know you have some too, so maybe you can go first, and then I will join in because he laid out some layers that I think we need to peel back. Go ahead, Camille.
Yes, for sure. I think the first question I have is about um, with respect to yeah, you sort of said that the protest had was both showing up to the embassies and showing that we the displease of the like to show the unsupport. Wow, my words are leaving me. Sorry.
You
um,
got it.
and then the second part was the people who were suffering looting and taking. So like
Mm.
in general, like what's the general Congolese person saying and thinking about what's happening right now with the violence in like the embassies and whatnot? What's the general sentiment?
Okay, the general sentiment and feeling is sadness, and we are calling for any help because you could see the government deploying some soldiers on the ground, but the population is regretting the strategies that is used by our government because our soldiers were left because the governor. So after the killing of the governor in Goma, so you could see the vice governor, the deputy governor of the Goma town. He went. he fled to Bukavu, the South Kivu province,
Mm.
and so our army. So we are like people. There is a kind of infiltration and betrayal because some soldiers on the front line are fighting for the defense and the dignity of the country, but we could see only people, looking for opportunities and looking for support, the financial support of the government, but there is a kind of betrayal and a conspiracy in our army. This is what the the population in Kinshasa is regretting, and we don't know who is going to support us, who is going to help us. We could see some declarations, especially the Germans declaration on uh, the, the way Rwanda is attacking it is supporting M23 rebels, but we don't know who is going to help us. All these countries and the government is saying nothing. This is the problem. So the president was supposed to speak this evening, but nothing is said to the national radio and television. So it's a kind of regret, and it's a kind of dispersed. So we don't have hope in. So we don't trust in anyone. We don't know what is going to happen today. We don't know what is going on. The government is not giving true is not giving any kind of trust and hope to the situation. So we need to have a feedback from the government. So a kind of message. So they are waiting for people to demonstrate in order to speak. So they need to inform us and to let us know and they give us a kind of so report on the kind of approaches, strategies they're making in order to bring back peace, or so they're keeping silence. And politicians, this is a kind of regret and the sentiment of the population in Kinshasa. So that's why you could say we stood and we went to question ourselves. So and apart from embassies, there were some, especially, for example, the house, the place, the home of the former minister King Wadundo. So we could see some young Congolese people questioning about the silence of these politicians. So we are like people who are so we are left by our leaders. So they are supposed to say something, but they are not reacting. This is the sentiments we are having on the ground. That's
So,
why we
so
went in the streets and we were asking the Congolese people were asking for guns, so they are not supporting, and this could it could be seen when they're fighting on the front line. They are left. The soldiers are left, and it is like there was a Lendo so resistance. We don't have any support. The government is silent, but they are attacking us. This was the sentiment that characterized. So we were really concerned, and we decided to go in the streets in order to show this and to let these representatives of these nations know that we will keep on struggling, yeah, in order to bring them our sovereignty. Okay.
Passy, if I understand you correctly, you're saying that President Tshisekedi, for example, hasn't spoken to the nation since the entry of the, I shouldn't even say entry, I haven't spoken to the nation since Rwandan soldiers M23 entered into Goma. That hasn't. I saw reports saying that he was going to be speaking to the nation. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. So from this morning, he hadn't spoken yet. Yesterday, there was a meeting between the institutions. I mean, the General Assembly and the Senate. They had a meeting, and we could see Kamere who reported. But this morning,
And
they haven't
Kamere,
spoken
that's
yet.
Vital,
We could
that's Vital
see
Kamere, right? He's the president of the parliament.
the National Assembly. Yes,
Right.
the National
Okay.
Assembly.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yesterday he spoke, and we could hear the minister for domestic affairs, internal affairs, Mwindo Zangi, who said who publicly, officially declared that Rwanda is controlling all the means of transportation, all the ways of. So there is no kind of support they can give to the soldiers, these heroes who are on the front line. Listen to the kind of message that the minister, sent to the people, fighting on the front line. So that's why we decided to go in the streets in order to remind them about their responsibility. And the government is saying nothing. So only the minister in charge of internal affairs spoke, and the message was not welcome. So this is not responsible. So why did you wait for this moment in order to say that you don't have any kind of support you can give to the people fighting for the dignity? Because so far there are some strategic positions that the M23 rebels haven't taken yet, especially the the Goma Mounts. So, as I talked to Brother Akili from Goma, he told me that there are more troops of the M23 rebels, but still we have with the Wazalendo resistance who are in avenues. So, but they don't have the support. How are they? They are not equipped. And the fact is that they went up to Rwanda in order to attack the Gisenyi airport. And so far, we have more Congolese soldiers and Wazalendo soldiers, apart from those who surrendered to the the Kigali, I mean the Rwanda army. So this is the situation, and this what gave us anger and sadness. We decided to go in the street because the message was not welcomed and it was not responsible. So the president hasn't spoken yet so far. So we don't know what. So I was listening to the national radio and television. They said that the president is going to speak soon. We don't know if they are doing any kind of diplomatic approach with nothing is said in order to give hope to our brothers and sisters in Goma. So this is the situation. Nothing is said so far. Is it a conspiracy? Are they talking to each other? So this is the situation, and that's how we were divided. So some people are only defending their political parties, but we are there as compatriots, citizens who need to promote the land, and that's how the Congolese people in the streets, they went to the army to ask for weapons, and up to the Njili airport in Kinshasa, they were asking just the government to send them in Goma, but give weapons. So this is the situation. So there we are determined. So we need to fight. But the problem is that these military authorities, especially the governor, the vice governor of Goma, who fled to Bukavu, so they left soldiers, militaries on the front line that they went. So it's a kind of regret, but we decide that we'll keep on struggling, reminding them and seeking for the truth, and push them to fight and in all means in order to bring back the sovereignty of the country. We know how these things happen, but sometimes we need to bring them back to tell the people what is really going on and what is the truth. Thank
Well, uh, Camille, the passage generated so many more questions for me, but please go ahead and follow.
Yes. I mean, it seems like there's a comment on Instagram about asking a little bit about the history between Rwanda and Congolese and why they are backing M23. If
Okay. Yeah, you're talking about Instagram. So the the other aspect is that in Goma there is no connection, so there is no internet. So we are communicating with brothers there just on a normal call. So you need to use Vodacom or Orange and SIM card in order to connect with brothers. So everything is cut. There is no electricity, so no water is provided for the population for the moment. So everything is cut. So no way to fight back thanks to social media. This is the situation. It is very, very bad. So, and so yesterday we could see our brothers and sisters who are in Goma sending us some images, but right now it is difficult because they can't communicate with us, and this is the situation.
Thanks, thanks, Pasi. You had shared a number of things initially. You're talking about where people are coming from in order to demonstrate. I don't know. You can break it down in terms of miles or kilometers for us, Pasi, coming in from Njili, Shango, I don't know, Limite as well, all trying to get to Gombe. And maybe give us a sense of what that's like, because the way you say it may seem simple, but uh, just moving into the city with the crowds coming that distance in order to get to the embassies, it's more than an ocean. Maybe you can give us a sense of what that's like logistically. So that's one thing I wanted you to share, the different parts, different communes from which people were coming, Changu, coming from Chile, coming from Limite. Share with us what that, give people a sense of what that's like.
Yeah, thank you. I will start with the situation in Jili in Changu district. The Changu district is very strategic as far as the struggle and fighting back is concerned. So remember that in 1997,
Mhm.
during the Lawrence Kabila, uprising. So when Rwandan people were killed, it was due to the struggle, the determination that started the attack of citizens from Changu. Changu is considered as the revolutionary quarter township here in Kinshasa because they are connected, they are near the Njili airport, so
Mhm.
they can easily reach the airport. And remember that in that time, James Kabarebe's movement, they were not able to reach the airport because there was the resistance of the population, the Changu uh, people, and that's where things started. So when we could see some images, some videos of people from Changu, and that's where when the people from other townships like the Kintambo and Bandao, they were now joining. The destination was to go and reach the embassies of the countries which supports the this rebellion. So the M23 rebels. So and like I said, in Gombe Township is where all institutions are based and located. All official and headquarters of embassies are based in Gombe, and that's what the destination was. It is very very far, you know, leaving Changu and other people. So Changu is considered as the north parts. Okay, they coming from the north, and then people from other township like Bandal and other Mongafula, they were coming from the south, but the destination was the Gombe township. And during these demonstrations, I could see people claiming, whenever they could meet some police station, they were asking for the guns. So we need guns to go and fight. But
Mhm.
the problem that there was no message from the government, and this is the regret. So and when the minister of the internal affairs said that there is no kind of support that we can give to the people fighting on the front. So what are you doing if you can't fight back? For example,
Did he say?
the South,
Did he say that on
yeah,
national
he
television?
said Yes, exactly. As RFI, he said that on RFI that
Uh,
Rwanda is controlling Lake Kivu. So Kivu Lake is controlling Kivu Lake. The airport, it is not possible to land in Goma. So it is not possible to go through roads because they are controlling Minova and Sake. So that's what it is said publicly. So why can't we fight back, knowing that our troops, our militaries, they went to Gisenyi and they controlled the the Gisenyi airport, and there are some reports, some atrocities in Gisenyi, and people from Rwanda were fleeing to Kigali. Kigali is around let's say 150 kilometers. So just imagine that's distance. It is not very far, and the people. That's what was shocking us. So why can't we attack them? Because they are chasing us from the Goma airport. Why can't we take the town of Gisenyi? This was the message. So behind this demonstration. So we said no, we should fight. And given that we have soldiers already on the Rwanda soil, so we can continue attacking and controlling this. So we can use Bukavu airports and other airports in order to support, give a kind of support rather than just keeping silence. This was the kind of anger that the population had.
so in essence, you're saying that people in the streets, not solely in anger against the uh, embassies, of foreign countries, but they also had some of the people, anyways, had some anger against their own government. Because you said there are some people, there are different reasons for people who are in the streets. You said some people were like wanting food. Maybe you can explain that some more. You're saying that some people were supporting political parties, or just going out to support their parties, and you're saying some people were angry at the government and wanted to protest because they didn't feel the government was doing enough. So there seem to be layers of interest, so to speak, of the folks who are in the streets today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, that's really true because when you analyze you make the conjectural analysis of the situation in Congo today. We are living under hunger. So hunger, the people is very hungry, and when there is these occasions of demonstrating, so just imagine we are $1 American is nearly three Congolese thousand. So for people, it is a kind of occasion for those who are not fighting for the support of the army. So they are there. So for them, it is an occasion. It's a time to loot, to take the food from some shops, and that's why I could say there was a supermarket attacked, especially the supermarkets owned by these Indians and foreigners. So it was a kind of both anger and also the situation, the social conditions in which we are living. So for some people who they were just fighting in order to get food, to loot and to take some materials, some television, and this was the negative aspects of the people who were just there to make troubles, to burn tires. Now other people like we're there just to support the army, and other were coming, and we could see even in Bukavu town, when they organized the rally, so they could come with some banderoles, some flags of their political party, and you could see they are praising. I remember sharing a video. You sending me a video, and I could translate. Can hear someone who's praising the presidency. So we're in in a situation that's the whole nation is attacked. So we don't need to focus on individuals. It is the future. It is the dignity of the whole country. But the problem that's unconscious people and that's why you could say the governor who declared that the demonstration was, it felt ready. There was a kind of infiltration to the people who were not conscious, who were just coming to have food. But we activists and people who who know the situation, who try to analyze what is going on, we were there just to denounce and to remind them that they should take their responsibilities of defending the country. And or it is also worth mentioning that uh, we are there just to show that such demonstrations and actions should be uh, supported and protected by the army when it is about other causes. For example, when we organized the march, and we were marching, demonstrating for the Bunagana occupation. So our
Mhm.
comrades were rebuked; they were arrested. So this is what I made as an analysis. So when it is
Right.
for their benefits, you have to remember
Mhm.
in this situation, some people came just to praise the president or their political. No, it is not the matter of the any let's say political party. It is the future, the dignity of the country. So we would just prefer these actions. So there was no incidents on the part of the protesters because they were supposed to just to accompany the government. But when we organize actions that's denounced, okay, the actions we organized here, we made actions to denounce the occupation of the Bunagana for nearly three years, but we were rebuked. But when we have
Mhm.
such, such events or such incidents, so they don't arrest anyone. But this is the kind of regret we are having activists here. So when we are telling the truth, when you are fighting for a common cause, for a true cause, you will always be arrested and rebuked, attacked by these officials and I mean, the militaries or policemen. Yeah, this
Yeah.
was my
That,
analysis.
Yeah, that's what struck me today, Passy, about the demonstration. The first thing that I said, oh, the government is letting people demonstrate. Because I remember, when you were at the demonstration, some of the other young people that were demonstrating, this was, what, a good year ago, demonstrating against the occupation of Bunagana. The government cracked down on you all, put some folks in jail, and ran you all down because you were saying, like, hey, do something. Our territory is being occupied by the Rwandans. And then, I mean, that must have really uh, been hard to take, where you're going to your government to say, hey, our territory is being occupied, let's do something. And then the government locks you up, puts you in jail. And at the same time, when they say they're trying to confront the occupation of their country. So that really struck me today, to see that so many people were allowed to be in the streets. So one thing that I thought, well, it must be in the interest of the government somehow, because of previous demonstrations that were against the occupation of the country. The government clamped down on you all.
Yeah, yeah, that's very important, brother. Let me add something to this. We have been claiming the responsibility of our governments and in action. So the problem is about the agreement that they have signed with these movements. And the problem is that they go and they sign some contracts. And we could see the Eastern African community inviting
Mm.
our our government, our president, but he didn't go, he canceled it. But why did you go and sign these agreements with a man which we could see 23 rebels? So this is the problem. They are putting uh, first of all, they're protecting their interests rather than the dignity and the interest of the population. But for this moment, they need the population, young people, to come and praise, applaud them, clap for them, and support them because they're in danger, because they need the collective, the popular masses in order to maybe to make their claiming. So this is the point. When it is about the serious matters, they don't involve the masses. So they rely on their own interests. And the regret is that if you can see the young protesters, demonstrators attacking one of the ministers, the former minister, it is why. Because when it is about recruiting, the Congo, in DRC, we have the problem of unemployment. When they give jobs, you could say a kind of, let's say, inheritance in their positions in the administration in political let's say institutions. You can see their family members working with them. But when it is about recruiting young people in the army, they never send their children to the front line. So this is the situations. In such conditions, they will never rebuke you. They will never attack you or arrest you, put into jails. So when it is about reminding them about their responsibilities, so they start rebuking and arresting you. And this is a kind of, let's say, general situation, and we will not stop mobilizing and educating the masses because we don't need to be manipulated. My observation when this invasion of Goma started, I knew that they will, they will seek for negotiations and arrangements. Now, the problem is that our country, they voted, they chose not to work with true Pan-African and institutions like the SADC. Just remember that these people so far they were supporting us up to the moment that the M23 rebels came here into Goma. But the people of the Eastern African community, they didn't support us. Yeah, they never sent troops to go and fight like the SADC
Mhm.
militaries did. So this is the situation. So I think those are, so it's a kind of a lesson for them. They are learning a lesson. They should
Mhm.
choose good allies, good collaborators in the
Mhm.
future. And they really need to know the situation, understand who is the enemy and the context in which we are living. So the country like France, I just need to make an analysis of the Burkina Faso president. When
Mhm.
our president went in France and Emmanuel Macron was inviting him with the Rwanda president. He said, "Why are you going there, knowing that these people they envy you?" So this is the result. You could see how France supported these rebels. They sent guns and very sophisticated ammunitions in order to take Goma. Just no later than this afternoon, I was watching a declaration in Rwanda of a French officer. Which was, in 2 weeks, we will be finishing this war and we'll be attacking Goma. They knew. And remember the so-called Operation Turquoise, the Turquoise operation, how they, in 1994, they came and landed in Gisenyi. It is nearly the same situation. So they always need to create disasters and bring you to negotiations. So why can't we restructure our army? Why can't you do it? So this is the problem. We were busy going out, so our president never had time to sit down to understand the situation, to to focus on the forces that we had. It has been proved that there was a lender resistance could fight for the people if they were only supported and equipped. And financially speaking, how much does the Congolese soldier earn? It is less
Mhm.
than $100. Yeah. What do you expect from such soldier to go and do for you? So
You said
I
less than
think
a
this,
hundred, less than $100. What a month that they earn?
yeah, it is around 2 hundred and thousand Congolese francs, which is let's say $100. Just imagine
Each month. Each month.
this. Yeah, the Congolese. Yeah, I'm not really catching you. So the
Less than
Congolese
a.
soldier is earned
Mhm.
less than $100 American dollars. Okay, so
Mhm.
this is the situation. But if you imagine the kind of, let's say, bourgeois classings, they created a class of bourgeois people, of political politicians who are earning. They will never tell you the salary of the president. They will never focus on the army and the education and I mean the health services. Now, this is the consequence. They didn't have time to invest in our army. They are asking we Congolese people to join the army. Yes, but they didn't prepare for it. Thomas Sankara said that a soldier who is not well trained is a criminal. So this is the situation. That's why you could say some soldiers on the ground they could just leave the country. They are not there for fighting because they were not well prepared. Some of them they were just prisoners, and the Kuluna militias from Kinshasa who were sent on the ground, but because they didn't work on this. These rebels, M23 rebels, they had time to prepare, they had time to work on the structuring of our army, but they work for their own interests. They have just compare the salary of a member of the parliament in Congo. So around $50,000 an MP is earning. So you see the balance. A soldier is earning less $100, but an MP is earning let's say at least $50,000. This is the problem. That's where everything starts. Then, and you could see some soldiers on the front, so on the front line, saying that, "Why we are fighting, but we don't have water, we don't have food. Why do you want us to fight?" Yeah. This is the problem. This is
Mhm.
the problem of our army, and we really need to think to promote this sector. If we want
Mhm.
to, if you want to keep peace in Eastern Congo, we need to work more and more. We need to invest in the army, and we need to prepare the youth, the Congolese youth. But I know we made this may lead to negotiations in order to exploit these areas. Yeah, we know why they are fighting. Uh, they're fighting against us because they need the minerals. But we really need to change the leaders, the political leaders, the system in general. So
Mhm.
when a president will take the model of I always I admire the system, the way Burkina Faso deals with the I mean the restructuring of the army. He restricted some advantages, social advantages of the soldiers. And the other aspects of the Congolese army is that these officers there is a kind of corruption that is developed in our army. So, and all these things it should be really structured. And how can we prepare our army? Maybe work on 3 5 years, work on restructuring our army in order to expect something better on the ground. And I think we really need to. We cannot join the army. Yes, we know that the conditions are not really favoring us. So this is the problem.
Mhm.
But when we they need the support of the masses, they will always come to us, go and clap for them. But we people who are conscious on their way of managing the country, ruling the country, will always tell them the truth. And that's why I said we have two kinds of protesters according to what is going happening in Goma. So those who are just for manipulation, looking for position, and those who are really nationalists who need to see the revolution and I mean the change in terms of So the equipment and systems, and let's say the Congo, we should change the Congolese people first. So the Congolese people need to be changed in order to have a really helpful system, a system that will help us to have a strong army. So we need to build new foundations by promoting uh, I mean, these principles, the values, the national values.
Uh, Passy, you've given us so much this afternoon to reflect on. About the demonstrations by breaking down the layers that there are within the demonstrations that took place in Kinshasa today. Also, you spoke to our brother Akili Mali and folks in Goma. Can you just give a rundown again? I know you shared at the top, but people would want to know like what's happening in Goma. People hear their stories that okay, the Rwandans and M23 they control everything. They got the city, and then there stories that well, the Congolese military's got the Goma airport and they got that under control. You said well, there's strategic points in Goma that are controlled by the military and the and the Wazalendo, and they're fighting against the Rwandan soldiers and the M23. Based on what our brother shared with you today, and what's going on in Goma, can you share with the audience what you heard not only from our brother but also from others?
Yes, thank you, brother. I say thank you to your friends of the Congo for the solidarity and follow up, especially the love of my people, especially brother Akiri and the team on the ground. I happened to be in contact with him because the internet was not working. I called him, and just imagine calling someone under these shots. And the reports is that the M23 rebels they have more troops because they entered there. They were prepared for this, but there are still resistance of our army, and especially there was a lender who don't need to. So they have the airports is really controlled by M23 rebels, but the army is still there, just in the surroundings because they don't need to leave. And also the national radio, he said that the situation is really complicated, and that's why the rebels don't have the opportunity to announce it officially because they should make sure that everything is cool is controlled by them. So it is really difficult, and the only issue is raised is that we the our government didn't send any support, any kind of help. Uh, so as far as the materials, I mean the equipment and guns are concerned. So if they had support from our government, so they would have protected so far. But the airport is not completely no protected or no, withdrawn by taken by the rebels. He said that we also have the MONUSCO which is there, and there was another report from a cousin on the ground who said that the MONUSCO militaries they helped rebels to take control of the airport because there were two entrances. So they came from the back when our army was controlling just the front. So just imagine the kind of betrayal we are having. So the MONUSCO, that's what one of the cousins or the folks on the ground reported. So the
Mm.
situation is very complicated, and but we hope that maybe the government can do something. But given that the our fighters, so our soldiers don't have any they don't have supports, and this will really weaken them. But there are other soldiers in Gisenyi who are fighting, and their objective is to control Gisenyi. And I also heard about the Rwanda Liberation Movement, which is assimilated to FDLR, and that's how where the situation is complicated. They said, oh, if you take Goma, we will control the Gisenyi airports, and you could hear some reports from Gisenyi, the Rwandan government, that there were the our army so killed civilians and they attacked the airports, and there is a really a kind of so fight back from the other side. So that's how things are still complicated, and our soldiers are really determined. They said, if you can die, but let's die for the nations. We will keep on fighting up to our last breath. This is the message from people on the ground, and it is really complicated because our our soldiers are in the population. You see how things are complicated. So you can see some soldiers who could take off their clothes, but they still have their guns in houses, and that's where the situation will be really dangerous and complicated. That's what
Yeah, it's
brother Akili could report, and other folks who were calling. Yeah,
that's where you
yeah,
saw. I think he
that
was
is.
saying it was like they're capturing at least the Rwandan soldiers, M23, avenue by avenue. They're going, to lock down control of different parts of the city, and of course facing stiff resistance. Uh, Thanks for that, Passy. Also, we talk about what's happening in Kinshasa. Talk about the report you got from the folks on Goma, and there's just been a flurry of activities, Sister Camille, in your city in particular. You said the National United Nations Security. The security UN Security Council is meeting today. Is it today they met?
Yes, the UN Security Council is meeting again today.
Mhm.
I think they just ended. It was from 2:30 to 5.
Okay. So we'll get that out to folks.
Hmm.
We should have that on recording that we can get out to folks. But they also met on Sunday.
Hmm.
So we've seen a number of things. Just about everybody, and not I shouldn't say everybody, but you have the South Africans, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. South Africa, they have troops there. Passy was saying, Southern African Development Community have soldiers in the Congo fighting. They lost 9 soldiers. The Malawians are there, lost 3 soldiers. Presumably killed by the Rwandan soldiers or the M23. But Cyril Ramaphosa was on the phone with Paul Kagame, and reports coming out of that is that he's apparently got Kagame's agreement to go back to the negotiating table at the Luanda Accords. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Luanda Accords and what that means, it's something that originated. It's an initiative of the African Union, originated in 2022. That where the African Union designated, President João Lourenço of Angola to shepherd the peace process in the east of the Congo. There are really 2 processes. One is the Luanda Accords, named after Luanda, Angola. The other is the Nairobi Accords from Kenya. And Congolese government has pretty much washed its hands with the Nairobi Accords, because, as Passy said, that for whatever reason, they joined the East African community and brought the East African community in. Now, mind you, the East African community is made up of 2 aggressor nations, Rwanda and Uganda, part of the East African community. So I don't know what the Congolese government was thinking. Historically, it's a Southern African development community that's been in solidarity with the Congolese people. In 1998, when Rwanda and Uganda invaded, it was due really mainly to the Southern African Development Community that prevented them from Rwanda and Uganda from capturing the entire country, because Congolese didn't really have a military. The military that drove Mobutu out was the Rwandan and Ugandan military, and the Angolan at the time, for their own interests. But in any case, in '98, it was Southern African Development Community that came and beat back Rwanda and Uganda, that ultimately led to a peace deal in 2002. And then in 2012, when Rwanda and its militia captured Goma, because this is not the first time Goma has been captured. They captured Goma for a week. It was, again, the Southern African Development Community, the South Africans, the Malawians, the Tanzanians that were part of what they call the Force Intervention Brigade of the United Nations that were fighting on behalf of the Congolese people. And as I just shared with you, South African lives, 9, this is recently, other soldiers were, South African soldiers were, most South African soldiers were killed before this past week. So in any case, Luanda, Cyril Ramaphosa spoken to Paul Kagame, and South Africa has had a, shaky relationship with Rwanda over the years, because remember, Rwanda and Paul Kagame is no joke. He's like make no mistake about it. He's a cold-blooded killer, right? When Tshisekedi said that, he's going to go to his parliament and get the parliament to vote so that Congo can, attack Rwanda or maybe make regime change in Rwanda, Kagame got up and he's like, you want war? We know war. That's what we are. And he's not just talking about war, in the east of Congo. There's, he's got his mercenaries all over the world. It's assassinating dissidents and attacking dissidents, tracking dissidents, Rwandan dissidents in the parts of the world. And one of the cases was in South Africa, when some Rwandan top officials were with Kagame like from day one. They bolted. They left the scene, and he was like, okay, they're like dogs. We're gonna go hunt them, right? And he wound up assassinating Kariega in South Africa, on South African soil, and South Africa broke off diplomatic relations with Rwanda as a result of that. So in any case, Ramaphosa called Kagame. He's ready to go back to the table. You have there's a transition in the United States where there's a new administration coming in, but they've appointed their Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and he spoke with President Tshisekedi and talking to Tshisekedi, trying to assure him that there's going to be peace talks at Luanda, and then, they're saying that the Luanda Accords is a path forward. And then you had just a host of European nations at the UN Security Council. If you follow the proceedings, what you'll notice, and this is really important for those of you who are talking about accurate information, right? They're all very clear. Rwandan soldiers are in the Congo, no matter what the news media say. News media always they say, well, Congo has accused Rwanda of having soldiers in the Congo, and the Rwandan government denies it. It's like, put it this way, the veracity of Rwandan government, right, denying that they have soldiers in the Congo is equivalent to our believing that Kagame, won 99.9% of the vote in the last Rwandan elections, right? So if you believe that Kagame actually won 99.9% of the vote in the last elections as they reported, then you probably believe that there are no Rwandan soldiers in the Congo. But for those of you who are thinking people, and you're listening people, and you're watching and seeing what the United States government is saying, the UK is saying, France is saying, the European Union is saying, the Germans are saying, just everybody, all of them say Rwanda is in soldiers in the Congo, and Rwanda soldiers need to get out. Now, the operative word is saying what they're saying. They'll all say this, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to act on it. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to mobilize for the United Nations to sanction Rwanda and Paul Kagame. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to withhold military aid, even though today we heard the Germans, it's been reported by Agence France Presse that the Germans have suspended development talks that were scheduled in February with the Rwandan government. Now, what that can do is trigger an avalanche of other European nations following suit and suspending talks or military aid with Rwanda. About 40% or so of the Rwandan budget is dependent on foreign aid, as much as Rwanda, posits itself or as a self-sufficient, self-determined African nation, and Kagame gets up and beats his chest, almost half of his budget still is come from the outside. So we follow that closely to see if any other European nations follow suit. And part of the reason why we follow that so closely is because in 2012, the U.S. just suspended $200,000 in aid to Rwanda, and then you had European nations just follow like a domino. They suspended tens of millions of dollars, and that had an impact on the Rwandan presence in the Congo. So let's see what will happen today. For the first time that I can recall, anyways, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, called on the Rwandan troops to get out of the Congo. So, you can speculate about a lot of things, but one thing that you cannot speculate and around at this point, or even say Rwanda denies, I don't even know why anybody would even say that at this stage, is that Rwanda has soldiers in the Congo. According to UN group of experts, some 4,000 soldiers, even more than the so-called M23. And Rwanda has fired surface-to-air missiles on the United Nations troops in the Congo, a war crime, violation of international law. So there are war crimes, crimes against humanity being committed. Rwanda is a foreign nation occupying foreign territory. So it's all stacked against Rwanda in terms of the facts and the evidence, in terms of the declarations. Where Rwanda is not stacked against Rwanda is actions. There really hasn't been any actions. And part of the reason for that is because Rwanda is part of got support among the global elite, right? Give you an example. The Spanish courts, they issued international arrest warrants on 40 top officials of the Rwandan government for war crimes, crimes against humanity, atrocities. There's a international jurisprudences, international law that allows a nation to do that. It's called, it's called universal jurisprudence, right? They can issue arrest warrants against a nation that has committed war crimes or crimes against humanity against their citizens. So the Spanish courts is renowned for doing this, right? So there are 40 top officials from Rwanda, got international arrest warrants out on them, and one of the top officials was arrested in the UK. General Karenzi was arrested in the UK, and he was brought into the courts, right, under this arrest warrant, and no other than Cherie Blair was there to defend this Rwandan general, right? Passy, you and folks in the Congo may be familiar with General Karenzi. He was part of the 6-day war when Rwanda and soldiers and Ugandan soldiers fought each other in Kisangani and committed mass crimes against humanity there as well. And so Cherie Blair came to his defense, and she and a number of other attorneys in the UK got General Karenzi off. Paul Kagame's got powerful friends, Tony Blair, Bill Clinton, in government, Emmanuel Macron. He's like a part of the global elite. He's connected. He's like an agent of neocolonialism. So they'll make these declarations, but when it comes to acting, Kagame does things for them in Africa that they either can't do for themselves or don't want to do for themselves, or they can use him as a proxy or a cover, or what have you. So the concrete things that they've done for Kagame so far is they've given him tens of millions of dollars from the European Union in 2023 and 2024. European Union entered into a critical minerals agreement with Paul Kagame, even as Kagame's soldiers, Rwandan soldiers, and the M23 has captured the largest coltan mine in the region, Rwanda, right? So he's being rewarded every step along the way. But nonetheless, I think there's there's a window of opportunity here for ordinary people from throughout the globe to put pressure on their political leaders, right? To put pressure on folks at the UN. That's why you see these demonstrations at the UN. Friends of the Congo and its allies going to have demonstrations this weekend in Washington, D.C. at the Rwandan embassy. They're the brothers and sisters in Europe, in Brussels, and Paris are going to be having demonstrations. So we need to put pressure on these folks, and not just the Kagame's connections are not just at the governmental level or even the corporate level. You know, these crimes that he's committing locally in the Congo and in Rwanda, they're cleansed internationally, right? And part of the way they're cleansed is through sports washing, the Arsenal in football team. You have the National Basketball Association, all in bed with Kagame. You know, trumpeting Visit Rwanda campaign. That's why we say to people, hashtag don't visit Rwanda. Don't visit Rwanda as long as Rwanda is occupying the Congo. So that PR campaign on the part of the Rwandan government is a strategic part of their arsenal in protecting themselves, right, from public scrutiny and protecting themselves from any kind of in-depth inquiry. Because if the arsenal is cool with you, with Rwanda, why wouldn't, as an Arsenal fan or a football fan, why wouldn't you be cool, you know, with Rwanda? Even subliminally, right? They're wearing it on their jerseys, like visit Rwanda. So you're like, oh, that's cool. You know, Arsenal is down with Rwanda. I'm down with Rwanda. Oh, NBA is down with Rwanda. I'm down with Rwanda. Oh, you know, Kendrick Lamar, you know, they're not like us. Oh, Kagame's like us. If Kendrick is down with him, he's got to be like us. He's not a war criminal. He doesn't commit crimes against humanity, mass atrocities. He doesn't occupy Congolese land that drive Congolese mamas and babies, you know, into displacement camps. Like Kendrick Lamar wouldn't be down with something like that, or Dave Chappelle wouldn't be performing in Rwanda if Kagame was doing all of this, or John Legend wouldn't be looking to go to Rwanda in February. So the PR campaign, or I should say the propaganda campaign on the part of the Rwandan, it is high octane, it's sophisticated, and it's a part of their arsenal in their local war of aggression against the Congolese people. So that's where we come in. On the outside, we can challenge these folks. You know, like, hey, Kendrick, are you down with this? You know, we see that Rwanda has captured a city in eastern Congo of 2 million people, filled with women and children that got no electricity, no water, running out of food, no connection to the world, and the soldiers, along with its militia, is going around door to door, firing, shooting. And are you down with that? So we need to know, right? We hear that Kagame is using you and others as a means to cleanse his crimes, his local crimes that's being committed in the Congo, internationally. And by the way, it's like ESPN that's saying that. You know, ESPN did an investigative report on Rwanda. I don't know, Kito, if you have that ESPN report, you could share with folks. We'll share it at a later date. They did on Rwanda and Rwanda's authoritarian practices locally in its own country. So there's a tremendous amount that we can do. Folks are asking what we can do. Absolutely, go to Free Congo, freecongo.org, and there are a host of actions. Follow us on Instagram at Congo Friends. We've done a number of posts with actions that people can take. There are demonstrations, there are campaigns, don't visit Rwanda campaigns, tagging a number of the folks that I mentioned. So there you can do a lot where you are, writing and contacting your government, asking them where they stand on the Congo conflict, your leaders, your national leaders, if they're in support with the Congolese people or they're in support of the occupation of the Congo by Rwanda. So very, very concrete things that you can do. Humanitarian intervention is needed. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, called for immediate ceasefire, immediate withdrawal of Rwandan troops, immediate lifting of the occupation of of Goma and the surrounding towns and villages. So plenty of action to do. Stay with us. We're going to be back with you as often as we need to keep you updated and provide you with the latest developments on the ground in the east of the Congo, what's happening in the Congo's capital, or political capital, Kinshasa, which is important because it affects what happens in the east, as Pasi just laid out for you. And certainly what's happening in Washington, D.C., in New York, and especially at the UN, a lot of activity taking place here now. And of course, in the capitals that finance and sponsor and support the likes of Paul Kagame. We're talking about capitals, talking about Paris, we're talking about Brussels, we're talking about London, and of course, Washington. So thank you all for tuning in with us. Hit us up on Free Congo, freecongo.org. Get involved, take action, join the movement. Peace, peace, peace.